Hello, my name is Tim Ziegler. In this video I will be demonstrating how to assemble and paint a Gundam action figure model kit. Gundam action figure model kits are, in my opinion, the peak of hobby technology called Gunpla. They are based on the popular long-running Mobile Suit Gundam anime series and mangas from Japan. Other variations of the Gunpla design are used in Macross and other mecha-based anime kits. Gundam model kits don't require glue or painting, but some parts are often not fully set into their slot. So if you're positive that the piece will never need to be removed, gluing is needed. The kits always include decals of one type or another. Decals vary depending on the grade of the kit, the scale, and the faction which the model is from. Gundam model kits come in several scales: 1/200, 1/144, 1/100, and 1/60, or perfect grade. There are even some kits that are over 2 feet tall. I do not own any of these ultimate grade kits as they are rare and are over $1,000. The typical contents of a model kit, in this case a 1/100 scale model of Victory Gundam, include the instruction manual, decal packet, and tree packets. Some higher grade models include screws, lights, and/or wires. Tools are essential to complete any kit, Gundam or otherwise. The tools I use are wire cutters, a straight edge hobby knife, a curved edge hobby knife, a clamp, brushes, and lots of enamel paint colors. Having a wide variety of colors at your disposal ensures that you don't have to go shopping every time you need a color you don't have. I put paint on the lids to give an example of what the dried product looks like, as the paint pigment often separates from the oil and looks different wet. Using the straight edge knife, slice open the top of each tree packet and dispose of the bag. I recommend leaving the decals and/or screw lights wires packet sealed until needed to prevent loss of parts. Tree is the term used to describe the apparatus the parts are attached to. Sometimes multiple plastics are used in one tree to mix colors and parts. The manual is the most important component to any kit. While the bulk of the text is in Japanese, the assembly codes are in English. Some parts of the assembly require an assembled part to be set aside for use later, such as the legs. Note the Japanese text with the line drawn to the part. This is the identification assigned to this particular item. No other part will have this set of symbols unless it is more than one copy of the same part. They also tend to reference the first two symbols of the sentence. Be sure to check the parts list located in the front of the manual to ensure that all parts are included. If a tree or essential part is missing, return it to where you bought it for either a replacement kit or a refund. After you make sure all the parts are there, turn to the middle of the manual where the colored pictures are. This is the best place aside from the box to get an idea of what pieces need to be colored. As a rule of thumb, the bright colored plastics get the depressed lines filled in with black. I use a paint marker to apply paint to the depressions and a standard brush for the hard to reach areas. If the model requires paint other than black, refer to the colored pages and the assembly instructions to find out which piece gets which color in which spot. If the painted area intersects a black depressed area, scrape off the dried excess using the rounded edge knife as shown. It is normal for some of the plastic to come off along with the paint. Just don't press too hard or you may cause irreversible damage to the piece or yourself. It is not necessary to remove the part from the tree to apply paint or scrape. In fact, it is easier to paint a part on the tree as you don't have to touch the piece when the paint is still wet. Note that while the instructions say that this area is yellow, I'm using gold paint. The reason is that when I got my first model kit, I did not have yellow and gold was the only option I had. Since then, I've been using gold paint on yellow parts for consistency. After the paint dries completely, you may begin to assemble the kit. As you might have noticed when checking the trees with the manual, each tree has a letter assigned to it and each piece has a number. I will only assemble one of the feet as a demonstration. Begin by determining which trees have the parts needed for this step. For this step I need trees A, C, D, and F. Using the wire cutters, snip the part as close to the branch as possible. Be sure you are not cutting an actual part of the piece such as a dowel or knob. After all parts necessary for the step are cut, use the straight edge knife to remove the burrs as shown. As with all knives, be careful and slow when using. Going too fast might damage the piece or you. After the burrs have been removed, the final assembly can begin. There isn't much I can say other than follow the instructions. At the end of assembly, it is optional to add the decals that came with it. I highly recommend that you save the box's instructions and any extra pieces in case the model needs to be stored or replacement parts are needed. I have found that nearly all Gundam parts are interchangeable depending on the scale of the kit. Nearly all Gunpla kits are posable and can make for some rather engaging conversation pieces. I do not recommend treating them like true action figures. They are kits after all. I hope this tutorial was informative enough to help you start a very rewarding hobby.